since Todd Boehly has secured Chelsea, and since then we have had a lot of individuals go out the club, a lot of individuals come in, 600 million spent, and all we keep hearing is a 2030 plan. Chelsea Football Club has changed in every single way, and it's a 3-point plan in my opinion. I've researched, I've simplified it. You don't have to do no reading. All you have to do is sit back, kick back, and enjoy. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kavkas View. I have broken this video down into 3 little segments. Number 1, it's what we're going to do with the current players that we have and why are we reducing the wage bill. Number 2, why is Todd Boehly acquiring multiple football clubs around the world? We've got Strasbourg and there's reports that we're going to get more. And number 3, what is the big plan for Cobham? Because the plan is broken down into 5 stages and we've got every little bit of it. So now, let's get into it. Let's get into the finer details because I know you lot came here for that. But I need you lot to hit the like button right now. I need you lot to subscribe to the channel right now because we're growing at a rapid rate and I really appreciate that. And now, in for the main course. So Todd Boehly's got the biggest initiative going. And what's the first stage? First stage is start acquiring the best young talent in the world for a very cheap fee. And we're starting to see this. Carney Chukwuemeka was the first one. Then we saw Andrea Santos. Then we saw Kennedy. Then we saw multiple other players start coming in. From Angelo, from Santos to other players around the world. We're seeing contracts get handed out that are unique in their own which way. 8 years, 9 years. In some cases, it could even be 10 years if UEFA didn't put a cap on how many years we can hand out that count towards financial fair play. But why are we doing this? Well, Todd Boehly's got this new initiative where he believes if we get them in early, number 1, there's a great this resale value in the future is going to be great because we will develop them, and not only will we develop them, we'll have Chelsea FC on the books. Chelsea FC will be written into their CVs and all of a sudden it inflates the price due to the training and the accomplishment they received here. And number 2, the biggest one of all, when they bang, they're already in the club. We don't need to spend 18 million pounds for them. But how are we attracting these young kids? Number 1, we're offering them great training and we're going to offer them high wages. Not high in the conventional sense where you give them 200k, high in the sense when there is performance metrics attached, KPI. And now let's think about it. What's happened? Mudryk has come in for 90k base, performance attached incentives that could push him up to 180k. Enzo Fernandez has followed suit, and there are many players that have accepted this, come in and are smiling about it because it enables them to have development, it enables them to ensure that they're going to get paid and remunerated well, and it also ensures they just got job security for the next 7 to 8 years at a top club, hopefully speaking. By investing into the tomorrow, a lot of people are feeling that Chelsea are neglecting the present, and by that I mean Mason Mount did not get the contract that he wanted. He did not want to go on this new initiative. He had Kai Havertz, who was lowballed in a contract negotiation. He had 2 years left on the deal. Chelsea offered him a lower base with these initiatives, and he said no. At the same time, people, we need to understand that these players are going into their big contract years. 25 going into 30. This is where the players are going to secure the biggest money. And in this situation, Kai Havertz is within his right to say, hold on, I'm making £180,000 right now, guaranteed. Why on earth am I going to take a pay cut for the base? And only if my performances are good, I might secure this present wage. I need more of an incentive. And Chelsea refused that, and Chelsea decided, okay, we're going to sell you on, and hence the mass exodus at the club. Players are starting to realize, I'm either going to get on board with this Chelsea experiment, or I'm going to have to leave. And what is very alarming is at the rate that players are leaving that are within the experience phase of their career. Chelsea are starting to acquire a team that is going to be on average under 26, meaning they will grow together, develop together, and hopefully come into their peak at the right time. But what does that mean in the long run? How are they going to develop? Well, there's 2 phases in which they're going to develop. Number 1 is via first team football at Chelsea. The ones that are good enough are going to stay and be part of the first team squad. They're going to have a young manager in Maurizio Pochettino who is known to have developed many players, whether it was at his time at Espanyol, whether it was at Southampton, or whether it was at Spurs, where he brought through the likes, came to the fruition that he became after Tim Sherwood did the initial work, then developed Dele Alli, developed Eric Dyer, and more other players, made Kyle Walker and Danny Rose into the players they were and playing the best football of their careers, arguably, some would say. Yet, and this is the big issue here, we have got a whole host of players. You can't only have 18, 19-year-olds playing against grown men. Well, this is where the multi-club system comes in. Chelsea are planning on acquiring multiple clubs around Europe. These clubs will enable all these players to go on loan and develop there, or in some cases, those clubs are going to buy these players and then sell them to Chelsea for a reasonable fee without ripping them off. When you have multiple individuals that are shareholders and stock on the board at these clubs, deals will get done a lot easier. Now let's look at it from a tactical standpoint. This is a very good development. You get players from Brazil that are coming over, they go to the Portuguese league. No change in language, the cultures are fairly similar, not too many differences in the sense that there are less variables to change. However, if you sign another individual from another part of the world, you can send him to France, to Belgium. Chelsea are planning on acquiring clubs all over Europe and maybe even go out to Brazil or maybe even acquire one in Australia. That's what the rumors have been saying. It's going to be interesting to see how it develops. I also want to understand the minute details regarding how many players can you loan? How many players can actually go from one club to another? At what point is UEFA going to say, hold on, wait a minute, is this making sense? So this is very uncharted territory for a lot of football fans, and it will take time for us to understand the key element to what's going on. But then they're also going after 14 and 15-year-olds. They're trying to sign players that aren't ready for first team football, but will be developed at Cobham. And let's talk about that. And this is where the 2030 plan comes in. Chelsea's Cobham Academy, the directors there have a 5-point plan. And this 5-point plan is broken down into key identifiable metrics. It's where they are able to track whether they're doing something that is labeling them to actually meet their target. Now let's look at what they're trying to do. In 2030, Chelsea's academy wants to make sure that 15% of the minutes in the first team are earned by academy graduates. So individuals that came out the academy are in the first team contributing to 15% of the minutes. 25% of the graduates make up the, meaning they are in the squad role. The way that Ruben Loftus-Cheek was, the way Trevor Chalobah was. Meaning you don't have to go and buy a £50 million player to come sit on your bench. You've got an academy kid that's come through, developed, and ready to play a squad role. I think this is a good metric. It's a cost-saving initiative, and more importantly, those players will have resale value for good volumes of money. If you're not good enough to start for Chelsea, but you get bench minutes, trust me, you're good enough for a West Ham or a Crystal Palace or someone else, because they'll be willing to break the bank to get you for 40, 50 million pounds. We've seen it with Mark Guehi, we've seen it with Fikayo Tomori, and we are starting to see it with Tammy Abraham and Ruben Loftus-Cheek going out on a permanent sale for 20 million pounds. The evidence is there and they're seeing. What else really was interesting to me is they want to make sure that the individuals that come to the Chelsea scholarship program are going to leave with GCSEs and A-levels that are above the national average. Reason being is, not everyone gets to become a footballer, guys. You can have all the talent in the world, you could be very developed, however, and this is the big however, sometimes your career never picks up. You never get an opportunity and it never just works out. So they need to have something to fall back on, and university could be a very good option, and it's not ruled out if you've got all these A-levels or GCSEs at hand. And finally, the last 2 points. Number one, they want to make sure that Cobham is going to be known as the academy that produces the most professional football. So in the world, when people talk about the best academies, they want to think of Cobham. And how are they going to measure that? Well, how many players that graduated for Cobham had professional careers going into League 2, League 1, Championship, Premier League, Serie A, Serie B? Where are they now and how are they playing? This is a very good model, guys, because this will ensure that players get sold on at fair, reasonable prices, and it benefits players to come in to Chelsea, develop, and make sure that there is a pathway for them to have a long and illustrious career. And finally, they want to make sure that in England and abroad, Chelsea are known as an academy that wins. Reason being is you attract winners, you develop winners, and when they go forward to the first team, hopefully it correlates into winning. Is this ambitious? Very ambitious. Is this realistic? I think it is possible to be realistic. However, do I have any concerns? Like anything, there is no such thing as a perfect system. And I have concerns, and concerns is that at this moment in time, it will take time for this system and this project to start to kickstart to the point where Chelsea are at the level where the fans expect. We always believe that they are going to be a team that competes for trophies. But if you're consistently signing in young players and then the players that you have been developing for 2-3 years want to go on and start winning stuff and you sell them for reasonable prices, you're almost restarting the process. So I am worried, and I want to see how quick results could start activating to the point where players are like, you know what, this is where I want to stay because I can win at Chelsea. I can't just earn good money and develop, I also can win. But at the same time, it's way too early for us to be negative and to just break down this project and say we don't like it because it's not normal or different. Sometimes we have to let this ride out. It's going to be a bumpy journey, and I am going to be keeping a close eye on this project from Chelsea. I think the next 2 to 3 years are integral. Chelsea need to make sure they consistently finish in the top 4 just to make sure that the revenue is generated so that they can keep investing into the first team to remain attractive, but at the same time lucrative. But finally, they also need to win a cup or two. By winning a cup or two, you keep the fans engaged, you keep the fans expecting more, but at the same time satisfied because they are used to picking up silverware. This isn't Spurs. This isn't Arsenal. This is a fan base that demands victory because for the last 20 years, we've been the most decorated English club. So Chelsea will consistently demand trophies, and the fans are not going to lower their standards. And the minute they do, we lose our club. So guys, I hope you lot enjoyed this. I hope this gave you some clarity of what the project is. I am thinking about doing a multi-club systems ownership video, the positives and the negatives in the comments below. Let me know if that's something I would do at a future date. But this is a video that anyone can watch at any time in the future. It doesn't have to even be up to date, so someone in a year's time could pick it up and see what Chelsea's 2030 transfer was. Please share this video with your friends, share it on your social networking sites. It goes a long way. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys thought. Peace out. I'm out.